I know I make this video at great risk because if word gets out about how bad this trail is, they might just shut it down entirely. Because I actually like this trail. But to be specific, I like this trail the same way I like eating food with a jagged and rusty spoon I found in the gutter when there's no other spoons around. So with that in mind, where exactly are we? Today we're in the city of Walnut at the south end of beautiful Lemon Creek, a segment on the 30-mile Schabarum Skyline Trail, which stretches from Covina all the way to Whittier. Most of this trail is off-road dirt paths which wind through the hills with amazing views, with the exception of this paved portion through the City of Industry, the subject of today's video. This trail is a real relic from, let's just say, a different era of bike trail design. Our first sign of that is the fact that we have to cross through the running water, but since it isn't torrentially raining today, I'm willing to give that a pass. We then scoot by on a narrow siding under 3 bridges, the first being Valley Boulevard, then Union Pacific's Alhambra subdivision, dating back to 1929, and the third for a truck yard. This part of the creek is subject to being overgrown and blocked with debris, causing water to flow over the trail, as we can see here. Alright, we made it through the hard part. Now it should be smooth sailing from here, right? We got nice scenery. We got a tanker truck yard to the right. We got the San Jose Creek to the left in its channelized glory. And lots of tumbleweed growing everywhere in between. The plants growing out of the trail will be a recurring theme throughout the video. It conjures up images of Pripyat, Ukraine, but without the radiation, I hope. In fact, this part of the trail was once so blocked with tumbleweed, I had to blast through it with a nearby shopping cart. Makes me want to put a snowplow on my bike. This stretch right here is pretty good when there's not tons of weeds growing out of the pavement. You can go pretty fast, because it's a nice incline sort of downhill. Ironically, the paved half of this section of trail has more weeds growing out of it than the dirt side. This trail also has a fair amount of metal debris, for which I once tried building a magnet sweeper attachment for my bike. Now, I'm not really a believer in corporal punishment, but whose idea was this? Like, who said it was a good idea to put telephone poles in the ground at the entrance gates to every stretch of trail? This is not even Americans with Disabilities Act compliant, and furthermore, this is not Americans with Bicycle Trailers compliant. When you think about how freeway off-ramps are designed, do they put a bunch of junk in the way to make it inconvenient for drivers? No, they don't. You can see why people aren't flocking in droves from miles around to ride on this trail, and part of that might have to do with the fact that nobody even knows this trail exists. Even Google Maps doesn't have it lit up as a bike trail. Those little green segments along the river, those are just parking lots. Looks like some good Samaritan left the gate unlocked, but let's get the full Schabarum experience. I also should point out that I'm far from knowing every trail in LA County, so if you have a contender for worst trail, leave me a comment. Alright, we've reached the first street crossing of Fairway, which recently had a grade separation completed. Yay. I didn't even know this trail existed until a couple years ago they started putting these new signage up. Because prior to that, it just looked like one of those no access allowed flood control district maintenance roads. Maintenance, in quotation marks. Now, of course I have a bias against bike trails that have level street crossings like this, especially when they aren't collinear with the trail itself. At this point, it's just faster to ride on the streets. Now here we have the choice of going the proper way, which is a little dirt trail cutoff that leads really nowhere, or just turning the next driveway. Let's go the proper route. I don't know why it randomly turns to dirt right here, but you can see right here, you can easily bypass this part with that driveway. Now this entrance is twice not ADA compliant because not only do you have to maneuver through some telephone poles in the ground, there's also a curb right here that you have to hop over. Let's go. Now I know this video is already sounding really pessimistic, but I plan to make up for it by making one about the best bike trail in LA County. I'll give you a hint. It's not in the city of industry. I made the mistake of wearing shorts today. Okay, seriously. This freaking tumbleweed looks so big it could be Bob Ross's chia pet head. There also used to be a palm tree growing out of the ground here. Free tires, anyone? This trail is good for one thing though. For reenacting the scene from Star Wars where they fly through the Death Star trench. Just make sure to wear long pants. This is a popular spot for truckers to stop and drop their Girardi bottles off. Don't drink it. Just before Sensuous Avenue, we've reached the most impassable part of the trail. Thankfully there's a street paralleling in case we want to bail out. But it looks like we're dauntless. Yes, we made it to the second stretch checkpoint with more telephone poles to walk through. At least the creek is extremely scenic. There's a lot of birds that hang out here sometimes. It's a nice touch. Alright, what's the damage? Ow. Ow. Sadly enough, the sign that originally helped me discover this trail has been run over at some point by people clipping the corner. This one, the regular gate's usually open, so take that, telephone poles. More of the same on this stretch, though it looks like we finally got a chance to get some good speed. This gate has the telephone poles blocked off, but there's like a limbo bar you have to duck under. Alright, now we're crossing Nogales. I like getting in the turn lane so I can take advantage of this unprotected left. If the gate's closed, some good Samaritan took out one of the telephone poles, but watch out, because there's a hole. Oh, and then the famous 30-year-old sign, which is actually, that's made out of fiberglass. Alright, second to last stage of the pavement. Evasive maneuvers. Use the force, Luke. When I first started riding on this trail, there was so much broken glass, and it was just sitting there for a year and a half, so I came out and started sweeping it up myself. But how does this much glass get on a bike trail? Are people like playing Toss the Chandelier or like filming multiple takes of a reenactment of that one scene from Star Trek First Contact? No! No! I'm so confused. Let's keep going. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I wish I could say this hasn't happened before, but this is probably more severe. Okay, that's not working. This branch is at least 3 times bigger than the one that was here before. Guess we'll just have to go over it. Good thing I have my light bike today. This one only weighs 52 pounds. I should compete in cyclocross. But with this trail, you don't have to. I like the eucalyptus smell though. But just beware. If you're the only one that uses this trail, then you might encounter spider webs. Now when I first started riding this trail, the section right here would have the gate locked at the end and you would have to backtrack a good 1.5 miles. Fortunately, that hasn't happened to me lately. This stretch isn't that bad. Hardly ever any weeds here for some reason. So scenic. Uh-oh, branch time. Path is clear. Now this particular stretch of Fullerton Road is under construction for the grade separation, so we don't have to worry about traffic. And I must point out at this point, they just gave up on the wood telephone pole. I don't know why. Bumps. Fig tree.
Figs.
Compared to the rest of it, this final stretch is not that bad. I only wish it extended all the way to the San Gabriel River though. Because right here we end the trail at this street called Lawson, where we make a left turn. Oh crap, there's debris in my cassette spokes. No one likes tumbleweed in their derailleurs. So the stretch up ahead is on Detour. So let's check out the progress on the construction. This dirt sidewalk on the right is apparently the trail. And you'll note at Rowland Street there's a sign saying Detour to turn right, but we're gonna go straight ahead as if the trail still went through. Random pile of asphalt on the trail. So there used to be an undercrossing right here under the train tracks, but due to some work, it looks like track realignment. They moved the tracks this way and it kind of consumed the entrance of the trail. I have some footage of when the undercrossing used to be there. The creep factor of this tunnel would vary from day to day, but in general the people down there were cooperative in letting me pass by. Their reaction was mostly of surprise at seeing someone actually using the trail, instead of jaywalking across the train tracks. It did, however, smell pretty vile down there, and when it rained it wouldn't drain for several days, so you would have to bike through a good 1/2 foot of water and God knows what else. But to me that was still the better option than what we now have to do, which is a 2.5 mile detour. It was a convenient shortcut to this shopping center right here, because there's a very tasty destination right there that I like going to, which we are going to. But since we're good rail fans, we're not going to trespass on the Union Pacific main line. And furthermore, it looks like they're building a wall here, so that's not going to even be possible in the future. I hope part of this plan is to rebuild the tunnel and reconnect the trail. I hope they don't leave it in like a permanent detour state like the tunnel up ahead on Colima. Because I like this tunnel, even though it was sketchy as. Personally, I think they should just put a train station right there. That way we could use the pedestrian bridge as part of the bike trail. But yeah, detouring through the city of industry, it's boring. The detour sign looks like it's pointing at the sidewalk, so I'm going to take that route. Help us avoid a double left turn. You know, it's almost cute that they actually expect people on horseback to detour 2.5 miles on paved streets through the city of industry. I get the feeling the horses wouldn't be too thrilled about that. So, if we're gonna hold them to their word, we'll come back February 2nd and this tunnel will be open. I have my doubts. This side of it, you can still go down there if you dare. But the entire opening has been sealed off. Let's pretend we just came through the undercrossing and we'll continue on. And we're gonna head to Diamond Fresh Market. Yeah! It's so amazing that this trail cuts straight through a shopping center. At least it did. Oh, we gotta do a water fountain review. I refuse to put my face that close to that many cigarette butts. Other cool thing that's here is Sam Ash music stores for people like me. I'm hoping I can still make it to my other destination in time. Let's get excited about buying fruit, yeah.
It's more like a life experience than a shopping trip.
I question the sign on the door that says no shoplifting allowed. Where are these stores that do allow shoplifting? The Really Free Market in Anaheim? No, that doesn't count. A bag of avocados for 99 cents sure looks enticing, but buying avocados here is like playing Russian roulette. Except with 5 bullets in the cylinder, because they're almost always bad. Nice, yellow dragon fruit is on sale. As a side note, these occupy the top of my fruit tier list. But store-bought figs are almost never S tier. They pick them way too early, and those are just one of those you have to find yourself.
Figs!
One defining feature of the store is the dates here are 50 to 80% cheaper than everywhere else. I once asked the owner how this is possible, and apparently it's because his brother owns the orchard. These Turkish apricots will look familiar to anyone who watched the Lake Paris video very closely. Kiwi berries? What's fun about eating less kiwi? Might as well try them. Garden Fresh also has a full-service restaurant-type kitchen-type thing, though I've never bought anything from there. The fresh breads are pretty good though. I've been curious about this one since I saw Classy Whale buy that simit bread in Istanbul, though they called this one a kurwizi bread, which is a word I could not even find on the internet. As far as I'm concerned, it's the same thing. Just a big picture frame made out of bread. We have a bus to catch. Oh yes, the other destination. Open mic night at Pomona Artwalk. We'll continue on the Schabarum Skyline Trail on the dirt stretch, following the undercrossing of the 60 freeway on Stoner Creek Road. Continuing past the scenic hillside, which is apparently for sale, we meet up with this gigantic castor bean plant, and then we'll catch the 482 at Colima and Larkvein. A little bit past the line there, boy. Alright, we have 9 minutes before the bus to Pomona gets here, and we will arrive just in time for open mic night. Let's try a kiwi berry. The brown ones don't taste that great. The green ones taste like mini kiwis. Low C tier. I want to give the Schabarum Trail a review right now, but the noise is just so obnoxiously loud. So I think I'll overdub it. 17 out of 10. The 482 is one of the best routes on Foothill Transit. Cause when you think of Roland Heights, you think Colima Road. When you think Diamond Bar, you think Diamond Bar Boulevard. And when you think Pomona, you think of Holt Avenue. This route has its foot in all 3 of those, on top of serving Cal Poly Pomona. Looks like we got to benefit from Foothill Transit's constantly malfunctioning fare boxes. So we're in Roland Heights, also known as the Asian Food District. This route also has some very scenic views, namely around Temple and Diamond Bar Boulevard, and the deviation to Diamond Bar City Hall. There's a really scenic view right there, trust me. They are modifying this route a little bit this month to remove the other 2 deviations. The first being the connection to Industry train station, which kinda shows how ineffective transit is around here, and the second one at Corporate Center Drive, which means this new freeway interchange apartment complex will be losing its bus stop before it's even completed. Todd God have mercy on them. You also gotta love how they list the A-line stations that are 20 miles away as nearby transit. And what's this $2,000 a month rent for a studio apartment? Maybe if it's Dr. Dre's studio. No wonder why people would rather sleep on the side of the Schabarum Trail. Hey, I thought this wasn't a social commentary. I'm personally in favor of removing this deviation, cause my bike once fell off the bus there. Too many speed bumps. And I actually used to live right next to one of these freeways, so you can see why I'm getting so emotional about how this is such a bad idea. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the new buildings are insulated so good, it'll block out the noise of 3 freeways converging on each other. I digress. We make our way into Pomona and exit at Park Avenue. Then, after a quick stop to catch this train race, We arrive at the Artwalk. Pomona's Artwalk happens on the second Saturday of every month. The main attraction for me, besides random dancing in the streets, is the open mic at Café con Libros, a non-profit community bookstore on 2nd Street. Since it is the month of Halloween, I came appropriately dressed as my favorite try-hard rapper from a 2000s internet cartoon, Coach Z, and I had a special announcement to make.
That is, gonna release my 4th rap album pretty soon, and it's the first album I made without any cussing on it, so that's exciting. Anyways, I'm gonna perform you a song that I made called Selfish, Narcissistic, and Autistic. This ain't for the dissing, this is for the dancing. This ain't for romance, and this ain't sprouted like real fanning. With flare radiator fans, and I stop like a dime because my brain is dynamic, rejected, highly energetic. Left and right brain connected, so I've been labeled manic and depressive with psychotic tendencies, but now I turn into the next me. You know what's funny is I didn't think there would be enough light at this bus stop to film an outro, but guess who's wrong? And I realized I didn't come prepared to eat this, and what I really can use right now is a jagged spoon to cut this thing in half. Who's got a torch? Holy smokes. Sweet. Bonus light show. So yeah, as far as the Schabarum Skyline Trail is concerned, I'm gonna have to give it a 17 out of 10. I mean, come on. Look at all the freaking tumbleweed growing out of it, the tree blocking it, the annoying telephone poles, the lack of good pavement, the obstacles, the junk on the side, the obstructions. They can do better than that, seriously. So I'm only giving it a 17 out of 10. You know what? I think the bus might be on Detour, and I'm just sitting here enjoying this, not even realizing that. And it's been a half hour. And my chorizo, or however you pronounce that, pretty darn good. It's like a tough bread. It gives the illusion of pretzel because of how salty it is, and it has a lot of sesame on it, so that's a nice flavor.
You know what I think? This bread is so crazy.
No!